It's a new rhythm on Vivid Streaming, the Hyperactive Crew. Ah, yes. All right, here we go. Okay, so it's a new rhythm on Vivid Streaming, and I have a very, very special guest joining us today, Tina Comissiong, Esquire.
Pleasant good morning, Rashidi.
Pleasant
good morning to the people of the Virgin Islands.
All right, now, first and foremost, let me start with, I like to see my people who doing big things in the community. So I saw you yesterday at the bike race.
Yes, sir. Out with Left Lane Cyclers. We hosted the Virgin Islands Cycling Federation, worked with them to host the first ever St. Thomas road race, and it was fantastic.
All right, let me say that you cheated because you on a motorized vehicle with two wheels, but not a bicycle. You actually are part of the Left Lane crew, right?
Yes, sir. I'm an active rider with Left Lane, but I was helping to host this one.
Good excuse.
So I'll be back on the bike.
When?
Without the motor very soon.
When?
Got to start training now so I could be ready for the race in October.
All right, so what got you started in cycling?
Just general overall fitness, very important. Wanting to stay active and had been running a little bit, and that was a little hard
Tough on the knees. Yeah,
so decided to switch to cycling. Bumped up on a great crew. A lot of those guys I grew up with, went to school with. And so it's good camaraderie, good exercise, good for your mental health. I just love it. And so it stuck.
All right. Yeah, man. It is great camaraderie for sure. Big respect to the Mango Tree Riders out of St. Croix as well.
That's right. That's our sister crew.
All right. So I think they would prefer to be brothers, but okay. The brother crew from St. Croix is hosting a race in October?
Yes.
All right. Now,
the Cycling Federation.
Okay.
And so Mango Tree will be very active in supporting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was actually a Cycling Federation event.
Yes, sir.
Supported by Left Lane.
Supported by Left Lane.
Oh,
That's
okay.
correct.
All right. That's pretty dope. Had a great time. Saw some very cool things. We're going to have a little story on it on Vivid Stream in our Facebook page as well. But you're not here to talk about cycling. But I'm not done talking about you yet. I also saw you at the Paradise 48 Film Festival.
Yes, I love the arts and supporting young filmmakers, and it was really a great event. It exceeded my expectations. The films were so good.
Yeah, indeed. All right, now there was a small medical emergency.
Yes, sir.
To which you jumped into action along with a doctor at Scheinder Regional.
Yes, that's my sister. She is a surgeon who works with us. Her name is Dr. Comissiong. So I was really the supporting cast.
That was your real sister?
Yeah, that's my sister.
I didn't even know that part.
I'm one of 4 girls. I'm the oldest. She's the third.
Oh, okay.
And she's a general surgeon. She does general and laparoscopic surgery. She trained up at Brown University, very highly skilled surgeon, and she's back working with us, back serving her community.
Okay, that's pretty dope. Yeah, move that to the side, so because it's kind of blocking your thing over there. All right, but so I didn't know that. Okay, just thought I was layman.
No.
Oh, we
were linemen too, but then she had to spring into action. You know, is there a doctor in the house?
Right, but I thought you were lineman with a doctor as a colleague, not a doctor as your sister.
Yeah.
So that brings me to a point, right? The Comissiong name is very prominent in the community, very successful, but I kind of liken it to the Sibley name in terms of it's just a family where a lot of people are doing really well, to which we should be proud. And that's how I feel about the Comissiong name, because Gilbert is your cousin.
Gilbert is my cousin.
And he's also a doctor.
He's a surgeon. Yeah. My father, Sidney, is a doctor. He's a surgeon. My mom is Dr. Watson. She was the medical director for the hospital, or chief medical officer for 18 years, maybe. And,
okay.
So
this
working
profession
together to serve the community.
This profession is kind of in your blood.
It's kind of in my blood, yes.
All right. So we had the acting CEO of WAPA here, Miss Bryan, who kind of grew up in the electrical field. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense that you are placed in this position, because prior to becoming the CEO, what were you doing at the hospital?
I was legal counsel and the chief compliance officer, working on the executive team under the leadership of a former CEO, helping to move the hospital forward.
Okay. All right. So now serving in this capacity for 2.5 years?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, where would you say the state of healthcare in the Virgin Islands is right now?
I think it's good and getting better. We're working hard at Scheinder Regional to add new services. I will say we have some really exceptional medical providers that live here and work in our community and work at Scheinder Regional. Best you can get anywhere in the world. And I think you can get better health care here for many things, better than you'd even get than going to a stateside hospital. You don't know the providers and they don't know you.
Correct. Now there's somebody somewhere who's like, However, couple of things I feel like we neglect as a community. Many times when you go to the hospital, you're there for a reason. Something has drastically gone wrong, and many times, sometimes these things are unrepairable. So with that being said, though, that is not to speak of the level of service that we provide at our hospitals. Do you stand by the support that we have and the services we have at the hospital?
I definitely stand by them. And I think 9 out of 10 patients that actually have an experience with our system really have excellent things to say about it. They're happy with the service they got. Of course, we know folks that have to wait a while in the emergency room don't love that part of it, and so we're working to make that better. But that's not atypical. When you go to a emergency room in the States, you have to wait too. It just depends on the activity in the back and the level of priority that you are compared to other people that are presenting. And so sometimes it can be a wait, and we want to try to continue to work to cut that down as much as we can.
All right. Now, sometimes I have you here for a reason, but I wanted to generally invite you. Just because you are a young Virgin Islander, and I don't know, people didn't like the fact that the acting CEO, Brian, used a beautiful picture, or we used a beautiful picture to present that she was coming. We didn't have a choice. We had to use a beautiful picture of you two.
Thank you.
But young, talented, smart, brilliant young women that are leading these entities that are very important to the Virgin Islands. Like, it's cool to talk about topics where, like, some people in the Virgin Islands are interested. Like, I could interview an artist, a rap artist, but then only the people into rap music would like it. I like these conversations where everybody should take interest. Uncompensated care seems to be a major problem for both hospitals. I liken it to going to Plaza or the market and getting all your groceries and walking out without paying for it. How long do you think the market or Plaza would stay open? And this is something that you guys face on a regular basis. How do you combat that?
It's really tough for us. First, I will say, I thought the picture of Miss Bryan was amazing. I loved it. And, that's silly to make an issue over that.
Right.
She's a young, successful person, and we got to support her as a Virgin Islander here, helping to fix things.
Agreed.
So I like the picture. But yeah, uncompensated care, it's tough for us. We have, we serve a large number of folks who are uninsured or underinsured, and so then we're not collecting the revenue that we need to make things better at the hospital and to keep providing services. So it's really tough. If you work for the government, you got a great insurance product. You have Cigna. If you are below the income threshold, you can get Medicaid. But there's really not a lot of options for folks in the middle or who are self-employed to get good coverage. And so a lot of them come to the hospital as uninsured patients, and sometimes it's difficult to collect. And as you say, you go to get other services, you have to actually pay for that. The hospital has an obligation to take care of anyone regardless of their ability to pay, and we do that. And so it makes it tough to pay all of our bills because we're not able to collect everything we should. But we're working to improve our billing and collecting practices. We hope the community will understand, that when you come to the emergency room or you come for a service, there is an expectation that you have to pay something. And we're willing to work with folks, put you on a payment plan or accept a credit card for payment, things like that. I mean, we want to work with people, but we have to provide the care. And so that we can be the best we can be for the community, we need folks to pay their bills.
All right. Now, your sister could have seemingly be CEO of the hospital, considering that she is a surgeon. But you are not in the medical profession per se, in terms of being a doctor or a nurse. However, this may be a bad example, but whoever runs Mattel or Hasbro may have never made a toy a day in their life. Mm-hmm. But with the legal background that you have and the experience that you had in those capacities, I feel like there's probably no better person to run the hospital than yourself. What is your thoughts on anybody who says, well, she doesn't have a medical background, so she shouldn't be?
Thank you for the support. Although I'm not clinical, I have a master's in health services administration with a focus on healthcare management and policy, and so I have a lot of training in running healthcare systems. There's a lot to running a hospital that's besides the clinical work. So we maintain our facilities. We have a whole IT infrastructure. There's a nursing component, a medical component. There's a lot of managing systems that's aside from taking care of a patient, and it's different skill sets, and it takes all of us to make the hospital what it is. And
Correct.
so I'm comfortable with the experience I had even before moving home in terms of like working at the NIH and their clinical center, and just the training I've had under other leaders to feel comfortable in doing what I'm doing now.
All right. I feel it's unfortunate sometimes that we have to justify the existence of beautiful women doing important things. But nonetheless, with that being said, you kind of went into a role where I don't know the difference in pay, but I'm imagining you were compensated well in the capacity as legal counsel and chief compliance officer. So I don't see it as a major pay increase to take on this added stress. What made you take on the role of CEO of the hospital?
It really has always been my career goal to be the CEO of a hospital, and specifically
Really?
to come back home and be the CEO of our hospital. And so I've been working towards that through my career. Even going back and adding on law school was kind of in furtherance of that goal. It was never really to go and practice law and litigate in court.
Okay.
It was to add to my skill sets as a healthcare administrator. So I'm doing what I love. I'm doing what I want to do. It is a lot of stress with it, as you say. I thought I was busy as legal counsel, but it's a whole lot more now as CEO, and it rests on your shoulders. And I'm really thankful that I have a great team that helps me do what we need to do.
All right. Now, I had a guest maybe 2 weeks ago that encouraged the idea of adding more clinical services, more specialties. To which my response was, yeah, okay, but how do we afford to pay and recruit those doctors? In addition, that many of those disciplines require specific infrastructure and equipment. Where do we get the funding, considering that there is the uncompensated care? The response was, well, if we brought those in, we would have more revenue. But again, that's a chicken or egg, horse or cart argument. How do we proceed with what we have, and how do you feel about adding clinical services, specific clinical services?
Yeah, I think there are certain clinical services that we can add and we should add, and we've started to do some of that. So over the past year, we actually added gastroenterology, which is helping us do colonoscopies and endoscopies, and we're catching cancers earlier, saving lives really through adding that service line. That's been hugely important. Next up for us is adding interventional cardiology. About 30% of the patients that we have to send off island for care need to go because there's no interventional cardiologist on island. And as you say, it's not just the provider, it's also a team to work with them, and it's specialized equipment. Where we haven't been able to do that through the revenue we generate or through support of the government, we have looked to the community to support us. So we restarted our foundation about a year ago. Since restarting the foundation, we've really had some great support from the community. We've raised over $2 million. And so we've used the money through the foundation to purchase the equipment for interventional cardiology and to get some of the supplies in that we'll need. So I think within the next 4 months, I would say we should be taking care of those patients, or sooner even, taking care of those patients right here at home. We're working to recruit providers right now for the service, but that's going to be a huge add for people in the St. Thomas St. John district, having that interventional cardiology here. Even persons from St. Croix, because we're working to create a bridge to allow patients that need to get that type of care to come just from St. Croix to St. Thomas. And not a physical bridge, but a bridge using partners in the commercial airline industry to fly folks over so that they can get scheduled. If you need a cath, you can get that scheduled. And if you have an emergency, we'd be ready to take care of you, heart attack, etc.
Okay. And that's something near and dear to my heart because I worked at the Juan Louis Hospital. I was there at the time of the opening of the Virgin Islands Cardiac Center. And Dr. Griffith coming back, another young, talented doctor who wanted to come back home. And then there were some difficulties with that and some challenges. So as a young, talented individual, what would you say and what would you suggest to keep our talented individuals here? Because Dr. Griffith, for example, returned back to the States.
Yeah, he was an excellent provider. It can be tough. but we're here and doing it because we love it and we love our home and we love the people that we serve. And so it's a commitment to being here. There are opportunities to do different things or make more money, et cetera, in the States. And sometimes we have to make those decisions for our families, et cetera. But to the extent that we could support each other, support other local Virgin Islands that are here, that are trying to make a difference, that are doing good things, that's what we have to do, because it's not always an easy place to live, but it's a beautiful place to live. And in everywhere you go, there's pros and cons, and so we just have to appreciate the beauty that we have here at home.
All right. Now, you talk about the cardio care that you're adding, but one of the things that seems to make a lot of sense to me is a dialysis unit. We closed the Dr. Gardner's, or he closed it in St. Croix, and I feel like dialysis is one of those specialty cares that I feel the hospital could operate and be profitable. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, so we actually do have a outpatient hemodialysis clinic here in St. Thomas. We take care of about 75 patients, and Dr. Gardner has threatened to close, but he's still actually open. So he's taking care of about 55 patients here in our district. We're working to expand our hemodialysis capacity. Unfortunately, there's just a need for it. We wish there wasn't, but there's a need for additional chairs and additional hemodialysis treatment. We got to work to keep people healthier so that we don't keep adding chairs. We need more preventative kidney care. We got to start bringing in, an endocrinologist to work with our patients. And, I think that hemodialysis, though, is very important. You need it 3 days a week. You miss a treatment, your body, your other systems get affected. So it's hugely important. We're working on an expansion project right now to be able to take on additional patients just because we know it's needed in the community. And I know on St. Croix, they're looking at options for addressing the needs of the dialysis population as well.
Okay. All right. Now, travel nurses is a topic that comes up all the time. How do we remedy that?
It's what I'm happy to talk about now, actually, because it was such a pain point for us for many, many years. And over the past 16 months, we've onboarded 70 permanent nurses. So at Scheinder, we are almost completely off of contract nurses. We still have a few supporting us in the ER and on ICU, but it's really a handful now, where before it was like 40% of, or half even, of our nurses were travel nurses. So that's a big savings for us. And we've reinvested that money into paying our nurses better, which is helping us to recruit and retain. We're hoping to do the same thing for physicians next. So we still do rely a lot on travel physicians. And, as we talked about earlier, we want to recruit some more permanent physicians, permanent specialists, to stop having as many rotating docs here, which are very expensive and not as consistent.
What do you attribute that turnaround to in terms of the travel nurses and making that transition back?
I got to give a lot of credit to our new chief nursing officer, Dr. Delfino Lavacci. She's been with our system for many years, but she's been in the role for the past year and a half or so, and she's really done a lot to elevate the nursing practice, have our nurses work at the top of their field, continue to develop them, place new people into leadership opportunities, and then we did fix the nursing rate, which has the salary rate, which has
that definitely helps.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not as attractive to be a travel nurse anymore because we're actually compensating our permanent nurses better. So we've done, really a great job. Our team has done a great job between nursing and HR in onboarding these permanent physicians. And then as an organization, we're trying to do more to support our employees and have a better work-life balance for all of our employees, not just nurses. So we've done a lot to build morale. We do a lot of off work type things. This past Friday, we had Bring Your Child to Work Day, the first ever. It was actually suggested by one of my daughters, Gabriella. She was like, Mom, how come we don't have a Bring Your Child to Work Day? I said, that's a great idea. Let's do it. And our team just embraced that and they ran with it. We had a bouncy house with ice cream, hot dogs, popcorn, painting. And, so they got to see a little bit of what we do because they sacrifice time with us to do what we do. So it was nice for them to be able to see kind of our units and what we do firsthand and then have some fun time. And then on Saturday, we did a family fun day at Coral World, and we distributed school supplies for our staff. And so we're just doing a lot more to support them. We put in a little gym downstairs so that folks can come down and work out when they're stressed or they need to have a little downtime. And we do movie nights. We're doing a lot to make it a better place to work for our staff.
All right. Now, there is the regional added to the Scheinder Hospital. And I feel like that was the logic behind the cardiac center as well, was to make that a regional care unit where people from throughout the Caribbean could come. What would be the specialty at Scheinder that we would want to attribute that regional aspect to?
Sure. So Schneider Regional Medical Center is more than just the Royal Schneider Hospital here on St. Thomas. We also run the Myra Keating Smith Community Health Clinic up on St. John, and we're the only place providing 24/7, urgent care, emergent care, as well as some very important clinic care up on the island of St. John. And the umbrella organization also includes the Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Institute, which we are actively rebuilding right now. It's wonderful to see the tremendous progress that's happening there. So very soon we're going to have radiation oncology back online, and we're going to be the only place pretty much in our region outside of Puerto Rico that you could come and get radiation oncology, which is amazing because we know a lot of folks from neighboring islands, within the BVI and elsewhere have friends and family here that they can come here and stay with and get world-class care, as good as you would get anywhere in the States. And it's a lot easier because you're closer to home. You're in a place that's culturally familiar, and you're getting, competent care. So we're really excited about CKCI coming back online. It's been a long time, too long, But,
why did it go offline?
The building was damaged during the storm, 2017 Irma Maria, and so the back wall of the facility was compromised, and that's where the vault is supported, where we do the actual radiation oncology. And so the building took some pretty significant damage. And it just is a long time working through the FEMA process to get to that final determination. But I will say, through the hard work of the THRT, which is our redevelopment team, they got a very nice award from FEMA, which is going to support building back even better than what we had before.
All right. Now, I feel like it's very important for the community to support our hospitals. Even if you are among those who immediately jump, if something happened to me, fly me out. Well, you actually got to go to the hospital before you could get to the airport. Yeah. So I feel like it's very important, and I feel like there may need to be a culture switch in terms of the way we look at our hospitals. How would you suggest going about that culture shift?
So I agree with everything you just said. You may think you're going to get better care elsewhere, but really trust me, you get very good care here. And even if you do need care elsewhere, if something really happens to you, you're going to come to us first. So it's in our collective best interest, all of us, to support the hospital, especially to support the emergency room. And through the foundation so far, I mentioned the Success of the Foundation, we've tackled 2 of our 3 projects. Tackling interventional cardiology, we got the new equipment in, that's moving forward. Tackling gastroenterology, we got that. The providers are here. We're doing colonoscopies. That's working out. The 3rd project was the emergency room project. And we want to fix not just the flow and the wait time, but also the physical appearance and upfit it a little bit, because we're probably going to be in the same building we're in for another 5 years or so until we build the new hospital. So between now and then, we need support to really uplift the emergency room. And what we want to do is do a crowdfunding campaign through our foundation to try to get everyone to kick in a little bit. And it doesn't have to be major donations. I mean, really broad-based support from the community will go a long way in making it a better place for all of us. And you never know when you or your neighbor or your mother or your child is gonna, have a, God forbid, an accident or a trauma event, fall off a ladder, have a heart attack, and you have to come to the hospital. So while we're able to support it, and as much as we could support it, I think we all should lean into that project. It touches everyone.
Now I'm going to give you an opportunity to tout yourself, blow your own horn, if you will. Where do you feel you met the hospital, and where do you feel the hospital is at now in your capacity as CEO?
Sure. I think we're really, really a lot further ahead. The team has really been working hard to make substantial improvements. We got a lot of talent at the table now that are all really driving hard in their areas. So, even on the financial side and the collection side, we used to be a hospital that was collecting, $3.5 to $4 million a month, and we're still not perfect, but we're collecting like $6 million a month now. So that's a tremendous improvement, and that's not one department. That's everybody from the upfront patient registration folks all the way to the back end, collecting and denials management folks. So our billing team is doing great. Our facilities team is doing tremendous work to keep our semi-damaged facility safe for patient care. If you drove by the hospital in the back, you saw it didn't look great. We didn't have the funding to go out and get a big expensive contractor to come do the work. This weekend, our staff were out there with the lift and power washing it, and the back looks great. And that's just one example of how we're keeping things together. But the team is really working hard. Like I said, we've got the permanent nurses now. We're working on the physician care. We've added service lines. So it's a lot of positive things happening at the hospital, working on morale. And I think we're in a better spot, and I think we're going to continue to get better.
All right. Now, you talked about travel physicians. When you bring in a travel physician, the experience across the board has to be quality in order for them to stay. So Dr. Wilson, who has her own practice, came as a travel physician and has decided to stay. Well, last week was National Orgasm Day, so we had her in as a result of that.
Nice.
But she experienced her experiences as a travel physician convinced her to stay. How do we attract quality talent in terms of doctors and nurses, and how do we retain them? How do we retention?
Yeah, so it's a great place to practice medicine. And I've heard that from a lot of my colleagues. The medical staff here is a really cohesive group. They work well together. They refer to each other. It's easy to set up a practice. I think they've been able to maintain, their billing and not got completely squeezed out by the insurance company. So it's a good place to practice. We have to find these physicians that want to have an island home, which isn't that you have all the bells and whistles and specialty consultants you might get in a bigger, environment, a bigger market. But it's a perfect place for a lot of people. And we've had a number of physicians like Dr. Wilson, who's a great provider, who have come here and just loved it, fell in love with it, fell in love with the people, and wanted to make it their home. And so we got to just identify the right fits. And with it being a national physicians shortage in several specialties, it's tough, but we're working with some recruiters in the States, and our team is actively looking. We're posting in new places. We're coming up with creative ads where you'll see like a physician on a surfboard at one of our beautiful beaches, and work and live here. It's a great lifestyle for the right person.
All right, now you talk about recruiting and ads. I got a question here from a regular on our live, KJ Jackson Jr. He says, will there be plans to market these services globally to help offset the revenue and cost? And these services like oncology, if you have, God forbid, cancer in, I don't know, Colorado in the winter, unless you like to ski, this would be a great place for you. How do we market, and will we market to those individuals?
We will market, and I'm open to suggestions from folks that do that a lot. Virgin is like, hey, I can help you get this message out there. Reach out to me, because we got to do that. We want to be a place for medical tourism. If you, I've gone into CKCI as they're rebuilding right now, the second floor of CKCI, where we have the medical oncology chairs, Charlotte Kimmelman, where you sit and get your infusion, looks right out over the town area and over Haven sites. You see the cruise ships there. There's no more beautiful place to get your chemotherapy infusion than at Charlotte Kimmelman Cancer Institute. And you're going to get great care. You're going to get even more warm, loving care, I think, than you would get in a facility in the States. So it's a great place for going through something that's really tough. And so we have to market that and, try to encourage people to come here, and people with good insurance to come here and help to support the financial stability. Because we don't want to add to
uncompensated care
of the facility. But we're looking at not just serving the St. Thomas St. John district. Obviously, we'll be providing cancer care for the folks over in St. Croix too. So we're looking for community support, potentially to build a lodge where folks could stay. And we're talking to the airline companies, so we need to create packages and make it really attractive, and probably work with Department of Tourism to make it something that we are actually marketing something great that we offer in the Virgin Islands. All
right. Now, you mentioned Wang Louis. How do you determine what is going to be your regional services from what will be their regional services? What is the cohesion there? Do you guys work together? Do you consult? Do you converse? How does that work?
Yeah, so we work very closely together. Juan Luis is our sister hospital, and we both share a board. We are both parties in the Virgin Islands Health and Hospital Facility Corporation, and so we have a joint territorial board. We meet very regularly. Their new interim CEO, Ms. Hazel Filbert, and I get along really well, and so we're going to continue. Her. Yeah, I'm happy that she was selected for the position, and we're going to continue working with JFL to try not to have any overlap where it's more efficient to have it in one place, but then there are certain things that you need in both places, you know.
Of course.
If you have a heart attack, you can't necessarily wait to get to the other island for care. But there's certain things that we certainly shouldn't duplicate. And where there's efficiencies and economies of scale, we're trying to capitalize on that as we go forward in purchasing and some other things. So we're going to continue to work closely with JFL and hopefully try to bring both organizations up to where they both need to be.
I see a sense of hopefulness and positivity in your leadership. It's all over your face. Do you feel like your ultimate goal for the hospital? Like, where would you want to see? Like, sometimes it's very basic things. When I was at the hospital in St. Croix, accreditation is something that we battle with quite a bit. But that's the base level.
Yeah.
What is the pinnacle of our hospital and healthcare that you see for the Virgin Islands?
Offering robust services, top quality care, continuing to be accredited by Joint Commission and CMS like we are now, really surviving on our own too. So financially, being able to close the gap where we're paying all our vendors on time and we have all the supplies and equipment we need to really be a first-class, top-notch organization consistently. So I think, just that high quality care, that loving care, and a place where folks want to come. We want you to want to come to Scheinder Regional, not just when you have an accident or an injury and you have to come to the emergency room. We want people to choose Scheinder Regional for their care because they're convinced by the quality. They're convinced by the service. It's happy people working there. That's what we're driving towards.
All right. What about ever building a hospital on St. John? That is a question from Nati Koshbas.
Okay. The St. John community is very important to us. Unfortunately, right now, where Myra Keating was, that building was also destroyed in Irma Maria.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, really bad. So we're working out of temporary trailers there. But the good news is that there's a bundle going out now through this new approach to disaster recovery. So the school that's going to be built on St. John and Myra Keating are going to be bundled together to hopefully get a very highly qualified construction company to come in and expedite that building process. So it is looking like probably maybe 3 years out before we have like a hardened, structured, new, I wouldn't call it necessarily a hospital, but a very advanced clinic on St. John. And we say clinic is not like you would think just a doctor's office clinic, like really an urgent care center that's top notch, that has specialties. And the beautiful thing now is with the increase in telemedicine, it's easier for us to connect with specialists, both like let's say from St. John to St. Thomas and from St. John or St. Thomas to the States, because you can now like see what you need to see through the highly advanced cameras, and it's easier to get a very good consultation even from a remote provider. Certain things our size is never going to support.
Correct.
A neurosurgeon, for example, a cardiothoracic surgeon, some of these things we just don't have the population for there to be enough cases for them to live here. But we could certainly connect with them through telemedicine, and you get your consultations or your follow-ups here so that you're not always having to leave Ireland to go to the States. So we're planning for a great new Myra Keating. We want the community's input in what we're going to build back. We want to build a facility that works for the community in St. John, and I think it's going to be even bigger and better and offer more than the old Myra Keating did when it was there before.
What would be the timetable on that?
We're hoping for 3 years. We're going to push for that. We really pushed Charlotte Kilman Cancer Institute first because there's no radiation oncology at all on the island. Lisa and Myra Keating were able to still provide most of the care we used to provide, but that's the next project up, right? Starting soon is going to be that bundle going out for Myra Keating Smith Community Health Center on St. John.
Earlier you mentioned rebuilding a new hospital. What's the timetable on that, and where would that go?
That one is probably about 5 years out, and that's being aggressive. I mean, I've heard 5 to 7 as a quote of time it's going to take, but I'm pushing for the 5-year mark because our old building is 41 years old now, and so we need to move forward with that project too, and get a new hospital online that has new mechanical systems, new AC, new steam and everything else. Those
once you get to a certain point, then you're just constantly fixing.
Exactly, which takes money away from the other things that we need to do and want to do, and vendors we want to pay, and supplies we want to buy, and equipment we want to buy. If you're having to just reinvest in keeping an old facility going.
Have you identified where it would go? Or?
The plans right now are for it to be built on the same campus, most likely building around the existing hospital structure. And then when the new building is ready, we kind of move patients across and then decommission the old existing hospital. Okay. And that's because the utility systems, that you need to support a hospital are already kind of built into that plot. So there's a lot of surrounding practices, medical practices right there, but the WAPA infeed, the water, the power, all the technical IT wiring, everything is kind of already there. So we will rebuild most likely very close to where we are right now.
Okay. I feel like you touched on this before, but Pam Henry asks, what about advanced practice providers, PAs, NPs, etc.? Are you looking to bring them on board as well?
Yeah, we love mid-levels. We're actually actively recruiting for nurse practitioners to support our internal medicine hospitalist program. We use nurse practitioners and physician assistants in our ER. They're a big part of our ER team. We're going to continue adding there. And right now we're actively recruiting for certified nurse midwives. So if you know certified nurse midwives, invite them please to check out Scheinder Regional. We have our positions posted on our webpage. They can contact me directly. They are a very important part of our overall team, and the way medicine is changing, nurse practitioners and physician assistants are allowed to provide a lot of direct care now, which is great.
And usually highly touted has been our pediatric care, neonatal.
Yeah.
I said that correct?
Yeah,
right?
You're doing good.
All right. We do very well with that. There's a good history there. And the idea of having a child at home where, possibly something could go wrong. You might need, I don't subscribe to that idea at all. But then in the end, you always find new parents very happy with the service that they receive in that specific process.
Yeah.
Where would you be most proud? What is that one thing at the hospital, or two things at the hospital that you're most proud of?
I would first say that, yes, our maternal child health reviews are amazing. That team does a great job. We have very high satisfaction from women who come or families who come to have their babies born at Scheinder Regional. So I got to give kudos to that team. Really great OBGYNs, midwives, nurses working with us there. So keep up the good work. And feel free, feel comfortable coming to have your baby at Scheinder Regional. Overall, I think the one thing that I'm really proud of is our quality scores across the board. We exceed on many of the statistics, the national metrics for quality.
I want you to say that again for the people in the back.
We exceed the national standards in many, many, many of the quality metrics that we track. We are fully accredited by Joint Commission and CMS. They come and do a very rigorous survey every 3 years, at least, sometimes sooner than that. And we never know when they're going to come. So you always have to be providing that high quality care, tracking your scores, and making improvements where you need to. So our quality and PI team is great. And I think that the community should really have a high level of confidence in coming to us for their care.
All right. Nati Kushbas wanted to add enough respect, Tina.
Thank you. Thank you. That support is hugely important because it's a very stressful job. We have a 24/7, 365, we got to be on point, not just me, the team, and so the support of the community is hugely important for our staff, and we really appreciate everybody leaning in and combating the negative energy sometimes that's out there. Because if you've come and you've had experience with our system, I would say 9 out of 10 times it's been great, and we want to make it 10 out of 10. So we're going to keep pushing.
So I did, and before taking the job, I had my preconceived notions as well. But I did public relations and fundraising at the Wang Louis Hospital. And while there, I learned the care that the doctors have, the concern for the community, the concern for their patients, the knowledge, and the everyday life-saving treatment that happens in these institutions. Grief and loss are things that part of your therapy is to vent and let those things out. And negative energy just lives longer than positive for whatever reason. But I was surrounded by good people and good care at the Wang Louis Hospital, so it's something that's near and dear to my heart. And I know similar is happening at Scheinder Regional as well. So I wanted to bring you in so you could just, because there's just this new doom and gloom, negative vibes about our healthcare system, and it's not that at all. And I just wanted to accent some of the positives that you're doing over there at Scheinder Regional. So thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the good things that are happening at Scheinder Regional and to big up our staff for all the great work that they do. So thank you, Rashidi, for hosting me, and I'm happy to come back anytime. If your listeners, have specific things they want me to come back and talk about, I'm happy to do that.
All right. Now, you talk about the support of the community. You definitely have the support of Vivid Streaming. You can call on us whenever you need us similarly, and we will be happy to help. So thank you very much for coming through. Appreciate you. You got a hospital to run. You spent a lot of time with me this morning, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and have a great school year to all the kids who started school today.
Look at you. All right. How many kids you got?
I have 2 girls.
All right.
11 and 9, Gabriella and Aria.
Okay, so how do you find the balance of mom, CEO of the hospital, left lane cycling? Now, I know the answer because you haven't been left lane cycling much.
Unfortunately, because I'm too busy with the other 2. But no, I got to get back out on my bike. 2 big jobs, both equally important. Love my girls, but they are also, as much as it's work, they are my joy, and they help to keep me grounded. And that's, when I'm not at work, I'm with my girls. Yeah. So love them dearly.
I know you could do this job elsewhere, and I appreciate the fact that you're doing it here at home.
Thank you.
Enough love, enough respect.
Thank you.
Just damn near 40. I'm just y'all could lesser than or greater than that yourself, but damn near 40 and young, successful Virgin Islander. That's what Vivid Streaming is all about, highlighting individuals like yourself. So thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Very sorry that we used a pretty picture to promote her as well. All right. There you go, man. That's going to do it for us. I had a whole lot of fun, but I got to run. My job is done. I'll be back tomorrow morning at the same time doing the same thing for the same set of folks, plus a couple if I'm lucky, because I do believe you're going to spread the word. If you like what you heard, don't just hear the vision, share the vision. Shout outs to G Muscle Fitness Center, to a new and healthier you neighborhood pharmacy, the most beautiful pharmacy staff in the world. Like, it doesn't even make sense. It's like a beauty pageant in there. Kind of weird. Also got to say shout outs to Liberty VI. Stay connected with Liberty. Stream more, pay less. Switch today at libertyvi.com. Carlos Furniture, appliances, decor, and more. You like my rug?
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, come on,
nice.
man. Come on.
Yeah, it's nice.
If you want something out of the fridge, well, a couple of reasons, right? It's going to be very cold because A, the fridge is brand new. WAPA did me and I had to get a new fridge.
Uh-oh.
Second thing. Ain't much of nothing in there, so whatever is in there is going to be cold.
A whole lot. So much nothing. So much nothing in there.
All right, we're going to turn her mic off now. Nobody asked you. Also, Seabourn Airlines, not just travel, a VI experience, also ran by a beautiful young Virgin Islander, Leah Shepherd, Davila, and Sweets by Low. Join the birthday shout-outs at 7:37 to enter to win you or a friend on their special day. And thank you to Sweets by Low. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you.
Have a nice day.
All right, you have a great day. All right, no, you still can't talk to me. Don't want to hear from you.
This is the Midnight Attraction. Gregory Isaac just got laid start to him attention. Say what?
Nah, man.